Countdown.
Okay, 5, 3, 2, 1. And it's streaming.
Greetings all, this is Farty von Bumstink, and we've got some steam to blow off today. This is what we call a full broadside. Bob, targets front right, target front right, point and shoot, point and shoot.
Greetings, everyone. This is going to be a little different from normal here because today we've only got one topic, and that's EVI Core. If you guys haven't heard of these people, that's probably intentional. They're freaking evil. That isn't just a cue. That is what they do. What do they do? Well, they're technically involved in health insurance, but not quite. They're not actually a health insurance company. Health insurance companies subcontract out to EVI Core. And what do they do with these losers? Well, EVI Core takes over the approval process. So if you've ever had, I don't know, cancer, and you needed to get, an MRI or something, and it was denied and there was no reason, maybe your insurance company didn't deny it. Maybe they subcontracted out approval to this loser company, and they're the ones denying it. EVI Core is basically a way to shuffle the blame and the lawsuits away from the main company over to these guys. Now, of course, they haven't actually closed up shop yet. They've been around since, I think, 2015. But, well, basically, I remember doing the same sort of thing when I was working for a particular law firm as a bill collector. About 4 or 5 of us would get in a room. It's kind of like a boiler room situation. We just go down the call lists, and they didn't care what laws we broke. Because after 6 months to a year, if the heat got too much and we got too many lawsuits on us, that particular group, that sub company would fold up, file bankruptcy, and we just move right across the hall and set up shop in a brand new company. I did that about once, and then I realized, you know what? I'm not good. I don't break the law ever. So I was not going to fit into that place, and I quit. But EVI Core, they're the exact same style of scuzzbags, because it seems like they are not just one company. It seems like they might be a series of shell companies. I can't prove it. It's very hard to figure it out, but I'm going off a lot by what the Better Business Bureau and their own employees say about the place. So let's go and take a look. No sounds coming through?
Fucking hell.
Oh, wait, no. Sounds fun. Okay, sorry.
Continue.
I have to call this company at least once a week for a peer-to-peer review to get authorizations for my patient's care. This is honestly the worst company. You go through endless automated message from anywhere to 5 to 10 minutes, which half the time doesn't work. Then you finally talk to someone and they make you repeat all the information you just entered through the automated message. Then they transfer you to a physician and tell you who will speak to someone right away, but in fact it takes over 20 minutes and you never speak to anyone. You know what? Setting up an incredibly evil phone tree was pretty common practice when I was working over for Bronson Migliaccio. No, I don't mind naming those guys. They were the second worst evil company in bill collections in the United States. Number 1 was Redline, and that's only because it's rumored they actually killed people. But yeah, I mean, the problem is there is no dispute process. There's no even reaching anybody because the company is just a series of phone trees. Let's see here. I have to talk to them on a daily basis as a physical therapist to get authorization. Although the one where this one woman talks about the denial of her husband's physician-ordered PET scan because he had cancer in his head and neck area, and they need to check it every once in a while to make sure it's not coming back. Well, that being the case here, EVI Core kept jerking him around and said, you know what, MRI should be enough for that. Which it's not. I'm telling you right now. Even with contrast, it's a bit of a bitch. Like, it'll give you some pinpointing of where something is in relative to other tissue with contrast, but it won't tell you what the tissue is like a PET scan. Oh, look, down here, I am in tears as I write this. My husband was diagnosed with cancer, and they ordered an MRI. The insurance denied it, and I'll tell you right now that without an MRI of the cancer, the doctor will not take the risk of doing the surgery. Hey! Wow! Isn't that wonderful? You know what? If you die, I'm pretty sure the bonus checks over at EVI Core goes up. By the way, oh, did you know this? Did you know this about insurance companies? They will hire the adjusters, and whenever you get sick, there's a diagnosis code. That diagnosis code has an amount of money attached to it. Let's say your diagnosis code is a broken leg. That might be $12,000. If your adjuster gets you fixed for under $12,000, that extra money is counted towards his monthly quota of saved money, and he gets a bonus check based off of it. So if you've ever had some adjuster blow you off until the first of the next month and then go, oh, okay, yeah, sure, we can approve it now, that was just somebody trying to pad their bonus check. Oh, by the way, there's another way that they can get money for their bonus check. If they have $12,000 allocated to you, or let's go with something pretty good, like, I don't know, spine cancer. And let's say that's going to be $250,000 to fix. If you die, that's $250,000 towards that guy's bonus. Isn't that interesting? But are the employees that much of a freaking monster? I don't know. Let's take it from their own horse's mouth. Let's go over to an evaluation by the employees themselves. Poor management, lack of teaching and mentoring, very rude, nasty supervisors. There were some better ones in here. I might have to search around a little bit. Bad training when you're not prepared for the call center job. No support from supervisors, and they're strict on anything. No room for growth. Lots of turnover, and they fire people all the time.
It's quite funny too that like no one's going to post all some of these fucking joints yet.
Oh, it's surprising they don't. Typical job consists of 100 calls a day of being screamed at by patients and doctors because their request was denied. Oh, and then you see, this one is a joke. Great company, great people. They had wonderful training programs. Who paid you to write this review?
Oh, that was him stroking his own ego just so as he can sleep well at night.
Too much work, not enough time, mandatory overtime, often dealing with angry customers. I worked at EVI Core for 6.5 years. Originally, when we were Med Solutions, I was able to get a promotion based on my knowledge and work skill. Now I haven't been able to get anything I've applied for. And it's either because I've not been awarded an interview or they choose someone less qualified. This place is a mess with management. Every time a member has an issue and you reach out to a supervisor, the supervisor looks the other way and basically passes the buck to someone else. In addition to the attendance policy is not family friendly. If you miss more than 2 days in a 3-month period, your superior will put you on corrective action. Med Solution was amazing once a time ago. They knew about integrity, compassion, and honesty. But now all they have is a bunch of power-hungry individuals with no compassion or integrity. It's basically that over and over. There's some that go, this place is a freaking hellhole. And this is just one page. If I go and search the internet, I can find a bunch of places bitching about this place. And it seems to be a recurring theme. That was the one that I was looking for. The one where they were talking about how it used to be Med Solutions before. When it seems to be Med Solutions, I don't find a lot of complaints about that place. This EVI Core, they are really under the radar. You really have to dig to find out anything about these people. The employees, you get a couple of ones that look like they're paid shills, but the vast majority of them are people who are complaining about how much the job sucks and how you practically have to be an evil person to do the job. And what did they get done? I mean, they get hired by insurance companies to pass the buck. And people die because of this shit.
Yep. That's underwriters for you. They're far enough away from it so they can not justify having to do a damn thing. And with the legal aspect of it, if you go and try and sue these fuckers, especially if you're dying, they'll just be pricks about it and they'll keep it going and going and going until you're dead and the case gets dropped.
Well, here's the other thing with this. There's one thing I know about cockroaches. They hate the light. And I have to start dealing with these assholes. Okay, this is just my opening event about this shit. But I was a skip tracer for a long time. And I was a bill collector for a law firm for a long time. These guys know how to deny people to ruin people's lives. I know how to track people down to ruin their lives. Right now, I don't have the time to deal with them, and we're going to see how things are going to unfold with my own medical issues for family members of mine. I think I have a way to end run them, and we're going to try and get the surgery done without having to deal with these idiots. But I'm putting it out there right now. I'm never going to do anything illegal. I never do. But if anybody from EVI Core comes along and watches this video, I'm going to promise you I'm going to follow the law 100%. Because the law does not care about good or evil. The law does not care about right or wrong. The law doesn't even care about justice or the individual. The law is about what is permitted and what is punished. It cares about the preservation of society as a whole, and individuals, yeah, you can kind of go screw yourself. That has its advantages and its disadvantages. And in this case, if you know what you're doing, the law can be wielded like a club. These poor suckers had better hope that they haven't already decided what they're going to do and that we're not going to have any problem getting the surgery that my wife needs. Because if anything happens to her, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to have nothing but time on my hands to devote to everything to EVI Core. That's just about it. Do you have any comments or anything you'd like to add, Farty?
Yeah, this isn't a very sort of well looked upon thing to do, and I'm in no way saying that someone like, people in 4chan, for example, should work their magic, or maybe Anonymous.
Oh no, I would never want to call upon 4chan. No.
I am not suggesting a single thing, but if someone is compelled to sort of, I just sort of would understand completely.
Oh, I could understand, but I would never tell them to start turning over every rock involved with this stinking pile of excrement. No, I would never tell them to go and hunt down every scrap of data they could find on this evil corporation, because let's freaking face it, my God, if Satan works at this place, I wouldn't be surprised. That is the worst optics in the world. Their name, EVI Core. I mean, it's like we're Evil Core. What is our core values? Evil. Well, we can't very well just call ourselves the Evil Core. Knock off the L. There you go. I mean, holy crap. Do you want to telegraph to everybody you're evil? Or is that like an advertising plan? Oh, that's how we get the insurance companies to note us. We're evil. Fucking A. Anyway.
Yeah, and also too with the whole thing of leading by example and people doing their jobs properly and all this kind of stuff. Well, they're supposed to be leading by a certain example, and they aren't doing their jobs properly. And I'd suggest to, say, first responders, for example, if you happen to maybe attend an incident involving somebody who works for this company, and you should lead by their example and maybe take your time to check everything that
make sure to verify the health insurance first.
Do I really have a spare one of these in my trauma kit to hang on, I'm just checking to make sure I've got a spare in case there's another casualty. Oh, you're dying, eh? Oh, okay, hang on, let me just check. I've got to cover my ass here, you see.
I'm sorry, I need to consult with a pulmonologist. Oh, and you need to talk to a psychologist. We're going to deny anything for 15 days, by the way. You can't even request a psychologist for 15 days for this surgery that'll save your life. However, after 15 days, then you can apply, and then we'll try and set up an appointment, because we need to know if you're psychological ready for me to perform this, defibrillator on you as your heart stopped.
Yeah, because also,
by the way, that's an actual example of the shit they're pulling.
So first responders, just remember, these are the types of litigious bastards that'll watch some cunt die and not give them the grace and satisfaction or the dignity of getting what they deserve. So just remember, you have to make sure that you are doing things right. So firefighters, if you attend a fire at either this establishment or their home establishments, Absolutely.
100%.
Go through your textbooks, make sure that your training is up to standard and that you are going to do this correctly and to the book, because remember, if you just happen to go and use what knowledge is in your head and you just happen to make a mistake of some sort, and they will sue your ass for saving their life. So make sure you got everything all by the book first.
Is all your certification up? Is all of your certification up to date? You can't go rescue lives if you don't have up-to-date certification.
And if that happens to take so much time that their house gets lost, their building gets lost, or they...
well, you don't want to risk a lawsuit, because then you couldn't help somebody else.
Yeah,
right?
And if they happen to slip through it free the mortal coil, well, you can rest assured knowing that you did your job to the letter of the book, and that, well, it took its time. That's just a suggestion.
Oh, by the way, I totally mean it. I do not have to break the law. It is amazing how well you can use the law to really put somebody through the ringer. I'm going to be waiting on this. I'm going to be waiting on this because, right now we're just getting jerked around a little. But God help them. God help them if anything permanent happens. Because I will have lots of time to become laser focused on dragging these idiots out into the sunlight. And I know a lot of hungry YouTubers where, you know what? I'd be willing to drop $50, $100 for some people as a donation to look into this for me. I think I could probably get a couple dozen people to start looking in this. And once word gets out, ooh.
Well, I can already give you an indication of how much of a bunch of bullshit they're carrying on with and how full of shit they are. Just that thing with the MRI, for example. There's a doctor's surgery in a place called Caringbah, which is a suburb of Sydney, and they went ahead and bought their own MRI machine. They've got their own ultrasound, they've got their own x-ray facility, and this is just a normal medical centre, like a small doctor's surgery, right? And the only requirement you have to follow to go and get yourself an MRI is to simply go to the front desk and say, I need to see a doctor to get an MRI. You pay a $50 fee, and that just helps pay for the machinery. Then you go into the doctor and you say, I need a MRI or an ultrasound or an x-ray, and they'll just go, rightio, they'll just go sign a little form, and you go across the other side of the surgery and you wait probably 5-10 minutes, and then they'll go and put you straight through and you'll have the results pretty much then and there. So if that small doctor's surgery can do it, these insurance companies have got no fucking right to be saying it's going to cost hundreds and thousands and it's going to take long and fucking months and all this kind of bullshit. Because I actually had a casualty who had a sports injury, and they said he had to go in for an MRI. And the doctors had said, no, bed rest until then. And by the time he presented himself to me, he'd been in bed rest for 6 months and he was basically immobile the whole time. And I said, well, okay, what have they done for you? And he said, oh, I'm waiting for an MRI. We're going through this, that, and the other thing, blah, blah, blah. I said, no, fuck that. I actually sent him to this joint, and I almost fucking damn near dragged him down there by the scruff of his neck. And I said, no. Go get yourself an ultrasound. I'm fucking baffled as to why they didn't do that first. But anyway, yeah, definitely, absolutely. First thing tomorrow, go to this place on pain of death. Get this ultrasound done. You have to. Now, as a result of that, the next morning he went to the this particular medical centre and they did him an ultrasound straight away. And then they rushed him to Sutherland Hospital because he had deep vein thrombosis and one had detached and was heading towards his heart.
It's criminal.
Oh, yeah.
It's criminal.
And had he not seen me that night, and I was fucking drunk at a mate's place when I heard this, and I gave him this advice. So even fucking drunk with no equipment and all this kind of stuff, I can second guess these bastards. And
I'm tempted to move down to Australia. Seriously.
No, don't. Especially around here. Oh fuck, the hospital here is crap. They're about to get their asses sued too. Class action. Long story. I'll let you know later. But anyway, yeah, literally, this bloke had only a couple of hours to live before he was going to get a heart attack. And the problem when a blood clot hits your heart, deep vein thrombosis actually detaches and gets to your heart. It presents similar symptoms to a heart attack, but they'll never find that it's an actual blockage until you're already dead and have done the autopsy. So, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Jacob, how's it going? This was kind of impromptu because hold on one sec. EVI core is the topic here tonight. Just a quick summary. These guys are evil. And I'll sum it up in case anybody else is coming in later. Watch this later is, what do? They're basically for blame shifting. They aren't actually a health insurance company. They're just a company that approves treatment. So if you've ever been denied for no apparent reason, it could be EVI Core or somebody like it. If you're insurance, and by the way, I urge everybody within the sound of my voice, if you have health insurance and you're in America, call up your insurance company and ask them if they deal with EVI Core. If they do, register a complaint now. Because trust me, these guys will get you killed. Okay, the process is, if you get cured quickly, they make a bigger bonus check. Or if you die, they get an even bigger bonus check. I explained it earlier, but basically, whenever you get a diagnosis code, they get assigned a certain amount of money to cure you. They run over their budget, it cuts into their bonus check. If they bring it under budget, they get a bonus check. And if you die without them spending a dime, they get a big bonus check.
Here's another idea for you as well. If you find out that you do have something and it is terminal and all this, feel free to jump the gun, go down to your coroner's office and say, "G'day, my name is such and such and this, that and the other thing. I have this, that and the other thing. I've been diagnosed with it and such is refusing to treat me. So when I cark it and I come across your desk, you're going to already know why." And then get the family to call a coronial inquiry. That's usually an inquiry that happens when people either die of natural causes or some funny circumstance other than death, and it needs to be found out as to exactly why, so you can either prevent that accident or that strange circumstance in the future. And,
that's beautiful. That is, it's petty. You're gonna be dead, but let's face facts. If somebody's killing you, the least you can do is give them a finger from the coffin.
Fucking yeah. And and if that changes anything to save a life in the future, well, your death wasn't in vain.
That is a good advice. At any rate, I'm going to reiterate here, I will do nothing illegal. Not a shred. But as I've explained, having all the years I worked for Bronson and Migliaccio, there are many legal things you can do to make a place pay. So they better hope that they do not screw this up, but they're already trying. I've got some stuff to do this weekend, which I'm hoping is going to get my wife into the surgeon, but it's going to be difficult. So that's also kind of the reason I'm doing this, is because I'm hoping to be able to come on tomorrow night, but if there's any issues and I don't show up, it's probably because I'm in the hospital. So.
And if you don't hear from me, I'll be in transit from Sydney tomorrow, pretty much at the time what we normally do the show. So if someone else can take the lead and I can chime in via my phone, I can do that. But not going to be near me computers.
Gotcha. Well, we'll see what happens tomorrow night, but this is basically just a kind of announcement of intent at this point. But if things go south, you will be hearing a lot about this company, because I'm going to turn over every rock. I'm going to find every scrap of information. I'm going to find where they get their dental floss. Nothing will escape my attention. So, at any rate, it's been unreal and not fun. And I can say that this place is a steaming pile of bureaucratic nonsense. I hope everybody out there has a better night than I do. Check your insurance company to make sure they're not using these bunch of assholes. And if they are, to save money, you complain. And if enough complaints get in, maybe they'll drop them. And if you're dying, hey, I suggest you take Farty's advice to let your local coroner know so they can do a proper autopsy to find out why you really died. Because if you die from neglect and the coroner says so, well, your family may be able to sue the shit out of these people. And whether or not they'll get any money, because I suspect their EV Core can vaporize and restructure under another company like that. I've seen it.
The coroner can also bring criminal charges too.
Oh, yeah, the coroner can bring criminal charges, which you cannot get rid of by getting rid of the company that's responsible. That goes to a person. And let me assure you, the first time somebody at EV Core goes to prison, the rest of them are going to get their act together.
Or they'll be ditched. Like they'll fucking won't want to work there anymore, and the place will be devoid of employees.
That would be a blessing at this point. They're already hemorrhaging employees. The only people go there are the desperate. Oh, do you know that they advertise $48 an hour? That's impossible. Unless they're counting an average bonus check per hour, which means that pretty much you're going to have to be selling your soul. Any rate, thanks for the few of you who stopped by here. I'm kind of putting this out there because I'm hoping that it shows up on somebody's search engine and they start to get a little nervous. Because if you try to look up EV Core, it's like the internet is scrubbed. It really is. It's pretty scary that I can find some bad news on certain websites, but whenever I even get a hint of anybody trying to do anything about EV Core, the links are all dead. So these guys got one hell.
Drop the link in all these comment sections.
Oh yeah, I'm going to be doing that pretty soon. But right now we're going to wait and see what happens this weekend. If things go through smoothly, maybe I won't go complete full bore on them. But if I become a widow, I will have nothing but time. Nothing but time. At any rate, sorry to be so glum today. We'll talk to you guys later. Take care.
Boobies.